Back for our Heart of the High Plains series. I'm Princess Bryant, and this morning I am joined with Brad from Coffin Memorial Blood Center. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me out today.
Yeah. So first, let's talk about what does the need for blood looks like now currently at the center.
Yeah, currently at the center, we came out of October with a great blood supply, but November it started off a little bumpy. So our blood drives out in the community have not been bringing in what we've projected, and so I'm really kind of interested to see how our inventory is as we go through the holiday months.
And I know you mentioned that you guys kind of seen a good need, or you guys seen a good supply of blood, but earlier in the year you kind of had that push where you needed more blood. Tell me about that push.
Yeah, so since we keep only 3 days of blood on hand at all times, that need can change so quickly. And so, if you have a great month or even a great week of collections, but then you go into a week or two without good collections, your blood inventory can change so quickly. So a lot of pressure, on us blood collectors out there. But during the holiday, it gets challenging because people get busy with all the different holiday parties and getting ready for their family to come into town. And so you don't know what the weather's going to do. And
Yeah.
so even just a day or two of snow could significant it could significantly change the blood inventory.
Yeah. And tell me about the blood that you guys collect. What different forms of blood do you guys do?
Yeah, so we do actually do different donations. That's great. That's a great question. And so you can do a whole blood donation. And so during that is whenever we just take out your whole blood, and then that goes in and gets processed into 3 different products. So it would be red blood cells, platelets, and plasma. And that's why you say one donation can save 3 lives because a donor could receive your red blood cells, your platelets, and your plasma. Another collection that we do in the center is called a 2 RBC. And so we have a machine that takes your blood out and spins it, and it takes double the red blood cells and gives you your platelets and plasma back with some saline also. And then we have platelets. And so platelets, we call that liquid gold.
Yeah.
Because they're only good for 7 days after you collect them. And so you have to be very strategic about those collections to make sure that you collect just what you need, not too much, not too little. And so that process is longer, though. So that takes a couple hours to do platelets. And so that's been a challenge for us to get donors that can do platelets. We've had a lot of our very faithful platelet donors kind of get to the point in life where they can't donate. And so age really isn't a factor.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's really on the medications that you could be put on as you get older. And so we have had some of those people gotten to the point where they can't donate anymore. So we need to get new donors in the door. And so we actually have spent a lot of time trying to educate our community about platelet donations and the importance of it, especially since the shelf life is such a short period of time, the 7 days. And so, like I said, you got to strategically bring those in each and every day.
Yeah. And like you said, you want to bring in that younger generation. I know with MASH last year, you guys were offering some game systems to
Yes.
kind of get that younger generation
Yeah.
in. Tell me, how did that look last year?
Yeah, so it was really cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that again. We think that is a great draw. A lot of the gamers, they play like Modern Warfare and things that kind of, it correlates back to MASH in a way.
Yeah.
But it just makes it fun. We did see a lot of new donors come in for that. And so that's something that we're always looking at, like what can we do strategically to appeal this younger generation. We start with them early. We're out in the high schools, and you can donate once you're 16 with a parent's permission slip. So we actually try to get them in and get them to donate 6 times before they graduate high school. They say if you can get somebody to donate 6 times, more than likely they'll become a lifetime blood donor. And so we really try to do that with education. But I love that, the MASH, the game system,
Yeah.
just having a fun day of events, honoring our men and women that have served our country. That's something that we really like to do. And so MASH is a great blood drive. It comes, right after the Christmas holiday. It's actually this year it's on December not December, it's on January 9th and 10th. And so we'll be looking forward to building the blood supply. You know, we're talking back here in November, and so
Yeah.
I hope we have a solid blood supply as we go into MASH in January. But at this point, you don't know. History kind of says that it's going to be challenging for the next 2 months, and so hopefully donors will come in, help us keep that blood supply stable. We have great shirts coming out. You know, at MASH we do a MASH themed shirt, and I
Yeah.
think I don't even remember how many years it's been now, but MASH has been around a long time. It's something that they started back years ago here in Amarillo, and really look forward to continuing that.
And you just kind of touched on it. November and December could kind of hit hard for your blood supply. Tell me why.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot of factors, really. In November, that's whenever people start having like sicknesses. You have the flu that will pop up, and people getting a cold, and so sickness has a part of it. People getting busy, getting ready for their families to come into the Thanksgiving holiday, so they're
Yeah.
preparing for that. I think just the busyness of life during those times really are a factor. Weather could actually definitely be a factor, and so we could start having some snowstorms, and so you lose a day or two of collections, and that puts our inventory at risk, and so that's something that you can't predict, but we try to be ready for, and so that's one of the reasons we come up with all these great promotions. We do at Thanksgiving, we're giving away Mrs. Fields pecan pies, and we
Yeah.
have a cool holiday shirt. And then right after Christmas, we're going to go into another long sleeve shirt that says "Give Hope" on it. And so, donors, it's cold during that time. They like those long sleeve shirts. So we try to think of things that encourages donors to come in, something maybe that's a little different. And so, we have the blood drive on December 16th. That's leading up to Christmas, and it's called Spin the Wheel. And our partners at United Supermarkets, they give us $2,500 in United gift cards that we get to, we spin a wheel, and depending on where it lands, you get a different denomination of gift card. But without United Supermarkets, that wouldn't be possible, and so we're so thankful for them. And so, really, it's just the busyness of life and
Yeah.
just the things that come up that make donations, getting people into the donor centers or to those mobile blood drives challenging.
Yeah. And let's talk about donors. How often can people donate, and what are the qualifications to donate?
Yeah, so you have to be at least 16 years old. If you're 16, you do have to have a parent permission slip. Until you're 18, you have to weigh 125 pounds, but once you're past 18, that goes down to 110 pounds. If you do a whole blood donation, you can donate every 56 days, but if you do a platelet donation, like we talked about earlier, you could actually do that every 7 days. And
wow.
so, it's really neat that your body can regenerate your platelets so quickly. I'm so thankful that it does, because the amount of people that come in to donate to like supply the platelets that we need is not really where we need it to be. We need first-time platelet donors, and don't get me wrong, we have people that do platelets and step up that are new every week. We celebrate them in the center, and so you can do that every 7 days. If you do a 2 RBC, that's where we take out the 2 red blood cells. That's actually 112 days, so it doubles the length, because it takes that period of time for your red blood cells to regenerate back to a safe level.
Yeah.
And so yeah, really, that's the main dates. So
Yeah.
whole blood's 56, 2 RBCs 112, and then platelets, you can come in every 7 to 10 days and donate platelets.
And let's talk about the center, and where does this blood go?
Yeah, and so Coffee Memorial Blood Center, we serve 31 counties, and so it's I guess that's 27 or 28 counties of the Texas Panhandle, and then we cover the 3 counties of the Oklahoma Panhandle as
Okay,
well.
yeah.
And so we go through about 25,000 blood products a year just out of Coffee Memorial Blood Center. And so when you think about that number, you can see why we need so many donors to come in. And so it takes care of those patients every day, from surgeries, trauma, cancer patients. They receive lots of platelets just because cancer is so hard on your body and kills those cells in your body. And so really helping those cancer patients to come through and to fight that process and to be able to come out on the other end healthy.
Yeah. And I know from a news aspect, unfortunately, during November and December, we hear a lot about crashes on the road.
Yes.
More people are on the road. Tell me how that blood also helps those incidents.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you brought that up. Like with the weather comes more accidents. A lot of time, you see the news every day.
Yeah.
But we have like crazy crashes all over town all the time.
Yeah.
And so on the helicopters, we actually do carry blood products on the helicopters. So Lifestar has some whole blood units on their helicopter, and Apollo carries O negative products on their helicopter. And so in those severe crashes, that blood product will get that patient to the hospital. And so we had the young girl that was from Claude that got hit by the train last January. And because we had 2 whole blood units on Lifestar, she actually was able to get to the hospital, get the treatment that she needs. And actually, she's a senior in high school and will be graduating this May. And so we're so thankful that we can provide that. But yeah, those blood products get used in so many different ways. People don't even think about it. And currently in the state of Texas, they're trying to get where we can have blood on ambulances as well.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go with that. The state of Texas has a $10 million grant that they're going to be offering to local EMS services to get the equipment that they need to keep the product at the right temperature on their ambulances. But there comes challenges with that. And so when we put those products on ambulances, we'll use what they call low titer O positive. And so to do that, we're going to have more donors. And so it gives us a challenge on the collection side. Like, how can we get more donors in that we can provide more products on ambulances? And it makes the difference. Like, there's lots of statistics that show the patients that receive blood products on the way to the hospital, their survival rate increases dramatically.
And you mentioned the girl from Quad from last year. Tell me, how many more stories have you heard like that where MASH has been able to directly impact someone's life?
Yeah, so we actually, we hear those stories all the time.
Yeah.
And so one thing that we do that I really like is we have a program called Thank the Donor. And so on every blood bag, there's a little green heart on it. And so whenever you're transfused a product at the hospital will give the donor a card, and it has a QR code that they can scan. And then on that little heart, there's a number that they'll put in, and they can actually thank their donor.
Yeah.
And so through that, we actually get to hear more stories than what we would if we didn't have that program. And so we see those every day. I mean, we don't always get a thank the donor every day, but we see every month we see like a bunch of those come in. And so we can see how it has affected somebody from a trauma situation, those people that are battling cancer or had surgeries. I actually received a thank the donor, and it was from a mom and her 5-year-old kiddo that was battling cancer received my blood product. And so it sure does encourage you to go back and get on that donor bed, because it really touches your heart. It makes you realize that that blood product's needed. One thing that we also are doing now, so whenever you register as a donor, and if you put in your cell phone number as a contact, you actually get a text message when your product's being shipped to a hospital.
Wow.
And so my wife, she's a blood donor, and whenever she gets it, she'll always screenshot it and send it to me and say, this makes me want to go donate again right now. And so it just means so much knowing that your product is shipped, that it's going to a patient now, and just realizing the importance of it. And so I'm glad that that's some things that we do, so our donors can actually know when, and sometimes they might even know where that product was used if they get a thank the donor message.
And let's talk about MASH. What year is this for MASH?
I didn't do my homework.
Okay.
And so it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to say it's over 20 years.
Yeah.
I should have I
Yeah.
should have looked that up before I came.
It's
But it is fun. It's 2 days.
Yeah.
It's actually the only 2-day in-center event that we do like that. And so I believe we try to bring in a couple hundred donors during that time. And so, like I said, like right now, we don't know the future,
Right.
but if collections stay like they are right now, we could definitely be in a critical spot by that time in January, especially if we have a weather event show up. And so we're working hard, to make sure that doesn't happen. But just history shows that these months definitely get challenging.
Yeah, and we already kind of touched on, but tell me the importance of donating and seeing it go right back to your community.
Yeah, blood donations are so important. Only about 3% of our population is donating right now. And so if we could increase that by even 1 or 2%, the likelihood of having a blood emergency would dramatically decrease. And so, one thing, I'm thankful that you invited me to this podcast because it allows us to tell the story of the importance of blood collections. We're always thankful whenever people like invite us to their social clubs like Rotaries and Lions clubs where we can educate the community. But really, growing that donor base is so important. Like I've been in the blood business for 4 years, and the need has not gone down. If anything, we've seen it go up, especially on the usage of platelets. And I don't know if that's because of increased cancer patients. I drive by Texas Oncology every morning on the way to work, and the number of cars that you see in that parking lot in the mornings, it really makes you sad because you know that somebody's battling for their life when you see their car in that parking lot. And so, you can't manufacture blood. And so the only way that you can get blood products is through a donor. I hear, that scientists are trying to work on ways to synthetically make a product, but I really don't feel like that's going to probably happen in my lifetime. That could be, who knows with science what they could do. But I do know that, that our bodies are built to produce these products, and being able to give that to a patient and to save a life means so much. And so, sometimes you can't give money, but you can go, give your time in the chair, an hour or two. If it's platelets, a whole blood donation may only take 6 to 10 minutes for most donors. And so we always say to allow an hour of time because you have to answer the 45 questions from the FDA and then make sure that we'll check your hemoglobin levels to make sure that's safe. But an hour of your time saves 3 lives, and that's real.
Yeah.
I don't know, we wish that we could tug at people's hearts more, but 3 lives means a lot to me, because I get to see every day those products going out the door to our area hospitals, and we have those people that deliver those products that are on call 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and they get called out a lot at night. I'm as well. As is like usually if you get sick or have an issue, it always seems like it's at night after the doctor offices are closed, and so that's when those hospitals get busy. And so, blood donation is so important. We can't stress the importance of it enough.
And you talked about wanting to educate our younger generation to make sure that people are still donating. How can parents help with that?
Well, one is like encourage them to be donors. We have the drive coordinator at Kenyon High School.
Yeah.
He's a big blood donor. And so on his kids' 16th birthdays, he brought them to the center and donated with them as when they turned 16. And so he knew the importance of blood donation, and he passed that on to his kiddos, and so they'll be lifetime blood donors whenever he can't even donate anymore. And so I would encourage parents to donate blood with your kids, make it an event. We have great snacks and drinks at the center. You get a cool t-shirt. It's a good excuse to go have a nice steak dinner after that donation, but take them to donate. If we go to the high schools. Like, really, the high schools really help sustain our blood supply during the fall and spring. And so whenever those kiddos are not in school during the summer, we miss them because we can go to a high school and collect anywhere from 50 to 100 products in a day. And so that's so important. So encourage your kiddos to be part of their high school blood drives. And so one thing that about blood donations is we actually make it pretty convenient for you because we'll come to your door, and so we encourage people to have blood drives at their business, to encourage their coworkers to donate with them, and just make it an event. You could do a chili cook-off or cook hamburgers or something, but I think blood donation is kind of cool because it encourages community as well, and I think community is so important.
And I know we're talking about MASH, but you guys take donations even when the drives aren't happening. Tell me how people could walk in and do those donations throughout the year.
Yeah, so the blood center is actually open 7 days a week, and so that's at 7500 Wallace Boulevard, and so we're open from 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Thursday. We're open 8 to 4 on Friday and 8 to noon on Saturday and Sunday. And so we do a lot of our platelet donations on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, but people are welcome to come in and do a whole blood. You can actually make an appointment. We actually encourage you to do that because it kind of gives us an idea of are we going to have enough blood products coming in today. But also we have 60 to 80 mobile blood drives a month, and that's in those 31 counties that we talked about earlier. And so if we're at your business, and we're making it convenient for you to be there where you don't have to go to the center, participate in those blood drives because probably 55% of our blood comes in from mobile blood drives and 45% comes in through our center. And so the mobile blood drives really help sustain the blood supply. And so we got another new blood mobile this year, so we're excited about that. So we've been able to kind of retire the older blood mobiles that were looking a little tired, and so we have two beautiful blood mobiles. We can bring those out if they don't have the room in their facility to do that. And so really we need to collect about 10 donors to go out to a business. And so but we can do blood drives. We can do blood drives over 100 on mobiles as well. And so really Pantex is actually our biggest supporter. They bring us out there every other week, and so we're out there twice a month. And then now we actually are downtown once a month because they're in the old Happy States Bank building, and so they're down there. But they bring in thousands of donations a year, and so we have a lot of businesses that could do that. We have a lot of those manufacturing facilities, and a lot of them already bring us in there. But there's definitely ones that we're not in, and so we would love to go into those businesses as well.
Yeah. And when people are preparing to donate blood, what steps do they need to take to get ready?
So I think it's a great idea to start hydrating a day or two before, just drinking as much water as possible. Eat foods that are high in iron, and so to make sure your hemoglobin level is up to where it needs to be. But really, being hydrated and having great meals. And so even having a good breakfast that morning before you go in makes a lot of difference, or having a great lunch before you come in that afternoon. And so just really taking care of your body and doing the things that we should probably do every day, but just making sure that you do that really makes the donation process go so much smoother. And the likelihood of you having like a small reaction dramatically decreases, whenever you're hydrated and that you've eaten well.
And you talked about reactions and stuff that could happen. Tell me the process you guys take to make sure that the form is filled out, that everybody who can donate is the ones that are donating.
Yeah, so whenever you come in, it's like a mini health screening. And so a lot of the questions that we ask would help us identify if there's something that we should be looking for. But we take your blood pressure, and we check your hemoglobin levels, and we take your temperature to make sure that you're not fighting an infection. And we answer those questions like, have you been on antibiotics, or have you recently had a surgery? So we do all the precautions that we can before you get in the donor bed to make sure that that's successful. But then once we have you on the donor bed, we'll take great care of you. We'll make sure that you have a drink, to make sure that you stay hydrated during that time. We'll give you a salty snack because that's something that helps out a lot also. Like with me, whenever I donate blood, I tend to get warm at the end. I've never gotten sick, never have passed out, but I just tend to get warm. So my staff knows that. And so they'll lean my chair back and they'll put an ice pack behind my neck before I even start. And
Yeah.
so they're very preventative. I want y'all to have the best experience that you can during a blood donation, because I want you to do it over and over again, just because it's just so important. And so our staff, they're trained well. I would say that most of them do between 2,000 and 3,000 sticks a year, and so
Wow.
they're really, really good at it.
Yeah.
And we have in-house training and really just make sure that we have people that can give you the best experiences possible.
And finally, if people want to get in touch with the center, they one of the businesses want to do a drive, people just want to walk in and donate, how can they do so?
The best way is really to go to obi.org. That will give you can contact us through email. You can actually get our phone numbers to the center to make an appointment. You can actually schedule an appointment there. And so you just go and you select Coffee Memorial Blood Center. It will pop up on the page when you get there. And that will give you all the information that you would need. And so I know if I give you a phone number right here, everybody would have to write it down. But if they just go to obi.org, that would be a great way to get in contact with us.
Alrighty, that is everything.
Well, thank
Alrighty,
you.
thank
Appreciate you having me out.
Yeah.